Those are words describing Fabio Wardley being a white collar fighter, and you will never see another white collar fighter like that again. And let me counterpunch. I say long live the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Like someone like Fabio Wardley, guys like Deontay Wilder, you know, that don't really have a lot of amateur background. You know, I think those guys are resistant as long as they can be. You know, I think it's a little soon, but I like the idea and the confidence of someone predicting that, hey, I'm going to be great without all the amateur stuff. I'm going to do what I do without that foundation of being an amateur fighter. Because it's so many times that people feel that they need to have those type of attributes in order to be successful in the sport. So it's the resistance against the norm. That's all that is. That's all that is. That's the resistance against the norm. And as of right now, Fabio Wardley is currently that. Undefeated. He has one draw, kind of similar to Deontay Wilder, minus maybe 15 more unknown fighters on the resume. And I think he has that same narrative. You know, I like the idea of someone mirroring themselves like Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder, believe it or not, was an exciting guy. You know, he was sloppy, he was uncoordinated, he was inexperienced, but he was strong, powerful, and the man, you know, had attitude, he had character, whether you liked it or not. I do think that's something that Fabio is lacking a bit, even though he's very articulate. He can speak for himself, so I do respect that. But he just doesn't bring that, to this day, factor to, you know, his character. However, he's still in that same ballpark of carrying behind a person, you know, like Wilder, that doesn't have the experience. You know, we will see this weekend what he has to offer. We will see this weekend, you know, what he's really about, and we will see if this narrative stays intact. Because, you know, Joseph Parker, way more experience. Justice Hooney, way more experience. You know what I mean? And he's done that to Hooney, so let's see if he can do it to Parker. So there's going to be a lot of content about Fabio and Joseph Parker. I'm going to do a film study this week, you know, on these fighters. I'm probably going to take Wednesday, maybe Wednesday or Friday to do that. Probably Wednesday, because I want to make sure it's before fight night, because fight night is going down. So, you know, the studying and all that should be over, you know, of these two guys. But Fabio Wardley, I think, you know, it's also a clever move, because if he does get beat, he will say like, hey, well, you know, I wasn't really even meant to be or to go this far than I went based on the lack of experience that I have. You see what I mean? So it's a win-win for Fabio. You know, he knows what he's doing. You know, that's a good cushion to put for yourself in case you do fall. And it's a great way to promote yourself, you know, in humility. You know, a lot of people may look at that as arrogance, because, you know, because a lot of people, like Wilder, again, back to Wilder, said you don't need skill when you have power. You know, and for a long time, he kept that narrative alive. All he kept doing is landing that right hand against guys that were much more experienced than him. And he made that narrative to be what? True, as long as he was doing what he did. So we will see if Fabio Wardley can do the same thing. You know what I mean? So you guys tell me what you think of Fabio in his latest comment, or the latest comment concerning Fabio Wardley being a white collar fighter. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!